not my point. My point is, it's a very interesting dilemma on this planet. I love the dilemma. Other people aren't going to, but here's the dilemma. The brain, not my hat. My hat's not the dilemma. Some of you are like, really, his hat? No, the brain, the mind. As I said in Kihak. So there's some people that say that humans only use 20% of their brains, their minds. Now, I tell you what, they're using 100% every day and struggling. They really do. There is no unused part of the brain. Every day, every part of the developed mind is being used. Now, at times it gets bored and it does things like crossword puzzles or whatever, but it's being used somehow. There is tremendous input-output at all times. The brain is at its maximum. Technology growing like that, consciousness expanding like that, the brain is screwed. I was going to say fuck, but but it's Christmas, and it is. I'm using your terminology. You know, when something is really like there's no hope anymore, that football team is just, or that person or whatever, brain is screwed. It absolutely screwed. It is maxed out. It cannot handle what comes next. And that's an interesting, amazing proposition. It's going to lead to interesting things. It's maxed out. It cannot handle any more data or input. You know it. Facts and figures and thinking stuff. It cannot. Yet people are trying. And there's all this stuff. You take, ginseng and make your brain grow. No. But anyway, the brain is at the max in the developed world, pretty much, but soon to be everywhere else. It cannot handle anything else. You know it. You see it every day. You see it in yourselves, but you see it in other people. They just can't take it. Because the brain is also the center point for emotions. This is often overlooked by social scientists, but the brain is also the seat of emotions. So what happens is the brain not being able to take any more in. The brain and the emotions simply shut down. They go numb. And then what happens, what you see is people retreating, getting small again. And Calder had a term I heard earlier. They live in silos. They confine themselves. A silo is a nice emotional thing to have around you. You know, silo for farming, made out of concrete. So they live in their silos. They live local linear. They start saying that they're simplifying their lives. They're not simplifying. They're just closing down, shutting down. But there's an interesting dilemma in that. The mind doesn't want to be told to shut down, even though it's at capacity. It's at capacity. But the mind then starts rebelling and pretty soon is going berserk. The mind it's at its max, but it keeps trying. It was programmed to keep going no matter what. It was programmed to always have streams of thoughts, informations, even dreams going through it. It was not ever programmed or allowed to just shut down for a little bit. Not even at night, not when you're dreaming. The mind doesn't stop, it's going. It's going 24/7. So we have this dilemma on the planet right now. We are humans are maxed out of the brain. It cannot handle anymore, but more is coming. More is coming because of technology, the result of consciousness. What are we going to do? There will be people that try to then get smarter, but they'll go crazy. They really will go crazy. And then they're going to rely on drugs, vitamins, medications, supplements, and everything else to try to calm the mind a little bit. There's some very smart people, very, very smart people out there, but even they're at capacity. And this is perfect. this is perfect, and where you are is perfect, because where we go from here, as I talked about in our last gathering, is beyond the mind. It has to be. It simply has to be the time to, whether you call it fantasy, whether you call it knowingness, whatever it is, you got to make the leap now. Now more than ever is the time of two worlds. We've talked about it. You've seen it coming for the last, 15 years. Now is that time of the two worlds, and you're going to be living in that for a while, for quite a while, and that's okay. The two worlds, and Linda, can I get you, Grinch, can I get you up here on the board, please?
My pleasure.
The world is going to be, and I'm going to use different ways of describing it, but if you would, two columns on the page.
Okay.
The world is going to be divided into thinkers and knowers. Thinkers on the left, knowers on the right. That's going to be one of the biggest differences. And there won't be a lot of knowers. A knower is one who uses Gnost. A knower is one. I have to stop for a minute and point out. So, dear Cauldra and Linda were complaining about my sudden change when they thought they were going to film Dreamwalker Birth, and suddenly we're doing something else. But a knower just goes with it. Doesn't complain. Doesn't...
we can complain a little bit.
No. And it was a very good example because they were following a local linear path. Local meaning, do you realize how many people on this planet never live more than 25 miles, 35 or 40 kilometers from where they grew up? That's local. Some people travel a little bit, but most people in their lives will spend about 99.9% of their time in their local environment. That's not so bad. I mean, you pick a place you like and you live there and you're familiar with it, but what also happens is they get local in their thinking, local, limited. They get local in everything they do, and they get local in their thinking as well. And the thinking isn't creative. It doesn't go anywhere. You're going to have a world now divided into thinkers and knowers. And underneath knower, put parentheses, creative. Creative. And again, when I use the term creative, I'm simply talking about exponential, going the word creative.
Creative?
Creative, C-R-E.
Under knowers?
Yes, ma'am. So you're going to see this world divided into the two. And the funny thing is the knowers are the ones who are in the moment, absolutely allowing, absolutely trusting themselves, letting that creative flow come through, easing the pressure on the mind. Because once one allows themselves to be a knower, a creative being, it takes such tremendous pressure off the mind. And the mind stops its games of emotions and problems and worrying, and it gets on with what the mind does best. Basically data, facts and figures, remembering history, and knowing how to maneuver in this environment. That's really what the mind does best. But the mind is not very good at thinking through anything else. So we're going to have a world of creators and thinkers and knowers. You are the knowers. You are the knowingness, the Gnost. You go beyond thinking. The mind is maxed out. And suddenly you just take that leap into knowingness. It's a big leap. Well, it's really a little leap, but it's a little leap once you do it, but it's a big leap when you think about it in advance. So to continue on the board here, Linda, we have in the thinker category, they're local and linear.
Local and linear.
Local and linear. When you start contemplating the world, the cosmos, you're no longer a local linear thinker. When you start contemplating the world, the entire cosmos, suddenly you have to go out of thinking because the mind doesn't know how to do it. Suddenly you have to go into knowingness, Gnost. Over here in this column, we also have power.
Power.
Power. Power. The world is a big power game, and power is a illusion of the mind. There is no power. It's all an illusion. There is no power anywhere until one actually believes it and starts living it. But you have this whole equation of power on this planet. What you're seeing right now in the news, it's all about power. I'll come back to that later. It's all about power. You'll realize, though, as a knower, that next, you might as well just stay up here, Grinch. That instead of power, everything is self-energy. Self-energy.
Self-energy.
2 words, self-energy. Self-energy means as consciousness, you attract all the energy to you, whether it's already in your physical being, whether it's already just simply in your field. You attract it, and it's there. You don't need power because your consciousness brings forth all the energy you need. Then you start looking younger, Edith. Yeah, when you stop thinking so much. Yes, over here on this, we have the mind, of course. The brain at capacity. It's this thing about you're only using 20% of your mind. You may be only using 20% of your life, your true capabilities, but your mind, you're using all of it. So over here, we have the mind. Yes. And over here, of course, the nost.
Ouch.
Ouch. Ouch. On the left side, we have, I'm going to call it gravity. Gravity, right, two lines, gravity on one line, time, space on the other. People are in that. They're stuck in that.
Time, space below it?
Yes, please. They're stuck in that. You're going to realize, you are starting to realize that actually time, space moves through you. You don't move through it. It's huge once you start realizing that. It's kind of odd at first, but once you start realizing it, it's huge. So you don't need that. We don't even need a word over here because, yes, we do need a word. Here, gravity is an opposing force. If you drop something, it's an opposing force. It falls to the ground. Over here, put just gravity and with a plus sign. Gravity is going to serve you. Gravity is going to serve you. Actually, there's all this quest for energy on the planet, and Jesus, they're putting up solar panels like they're going out of style, and they are going to go out of style. That's the funny thing. If you're spending a lot of money this next year on solar panels, so sorry. Because the real energy on this planet, the real available, easy energy is gravity. You realize the force that's in gravity on this planet that causes that to drop also it has the same potential for that to go up. It does. And the scientists will think I'm crazy, but I'm going to have that last laugh in a couple of years. Gravity has an inherent built-in energy in it all the time. It's in neutral. But in the reality that you're in, everything falls to the ground. But they're going to realize that there is all the energy you ever need in gravity on this planet. But that's a whole other thing. On this side, right, physical.
Physical.
Physical. You live in physical bodies. And the knowers are going to realize that the physical body is simply one of the sensory tools that they have. Just one. So I'm really not sure what to write on that side other than just put sensual awareness.
Sensual?
Sensual awareness. The physical body is your way of perceiving reality. These are your senses and your mind, but there is a sense, and many senses actually beyond that are not associated with the body. So you're going to start living in a very and reality. We could go on and on and on with that, but we have other things to do today. I want you to start seeing the world right now. The world is moving into two worlds like never before. I'll proclaim this date, December 5th, 2015 as the date that we suddenly realized it is two worlds, officially two worlds. It's been leading up to that for a while.
Wow.
There's been the whole engagement process, and then boom, we're here. Officially, two worlds. Good news, bad news. Good news, bad news. There are a lot of kumbayas that aren't going to like it. Oh, we're all one world. It's like, no, you're not. No, you are not. So I want you to be aware of these things because you're still living amongst all this. You've come from all this. It's ingrained in your system. And all of this is going to try to pull you back when you try to go to that. It's going to suck you right back in and say, you're a physical being. You know, you can feel how it hurts. You are an emotional, mental being. You're linear. You're limited. You got to be crazy. You think you can defy gravity and time and space. You're nuts. All that stuff is going to try to pull you back. All that stuff is going to try to hold you in. And you've already experienced that. But the reality is that you are naturally moving over to here. It's why I asked the question up front, how'd you do this year with being your natural self? It's not your mind that is moving you to here. It's not because you've studied spiritual classes that's moving you over to here. It's not because you're eating certain kinds of food that's moving you over. You're moving over just because it's the natural movement, the natural expansion, and it's also your desire. Also, I got to put one more thing on the list here. I'm just going to put passion right there. And when I say passion, it's the old human passion, you know, what excites you, what gets you going. By the way, there's a huge drop in global passion, huge drop amongst individuals, but if it's measured globally, passion is going like that. People don't know what to do anymore. You come over here on this side and you realize that passion is old-fashioned. I like that. Passion is old-fashioned. You don't need that outer stimulation. You don't need those little triggers in you anymore. You don't really need the word passion anymore. Now, I know it's been awful going out of your old passions. What am I here for? Why am I here? Shut up. Just... passion is a word that's going to disappear from your vocabulary because you're not going to have to go looking for passion. You're not going to have to passionate yourself every few days. You're not going to have to, it's always there. It's just the I am. I am living. Who needs to have all these passions, whether it's, coin collecting or bike races or whatever you do for your passion. Every moment is the passion. But passion will go out of your vocabulary. So there's no really corresponding word over there. Who needs it when you're alive and conscious? So officially today, I'm going to mark as the day that the two worlds began. It's been in the making for a long time, but it's here. It's now. The biggest difference is going to be thinkers and knowers. Those who are still in their mind, still trying to figure out things in their mind. Not that the mind is bad, but it's maxed out. It's absolutely maxed out. Last month when we got together, I talked about fantasy and talked about a lot of these things, but I said fantasy is the way out. It's the way beyond. Fantasy, allowing yourself to go out beyond the mind into things that the mind would judge as being undoable, unbelievable, made up. Going into fantasy, which is as real as all of this, it's just real in a different way. Maybe not real in the physical, local, linear way, but it's still real. That leap into the beyond the mind, And it's a big leap because the mind is scared shitless about it. The mind is like, what's going to happen? Shh. Mind, it's all natural. It's all natural. Dear mind, just as the body, every cell in the body has been waiting, holding a space for the light to come in. Dear mind, so have you been waiting for this leap into Nost, the beyond. It's a different way of sensing, thinking. It takes us out of local linear into global exponential, into cosmic exponential. And it's not going to be the same platform. It's not going to be the same basis for reality. It's totally different. And we'll still be here doing this, and we'll still be able to sense with our human senses, but we're moving into something else. And the funny thing is, dear mind, the funny thing is on this official date now, it's official because I said it and it's written. Once it's written, it's official. On this official day of the recognition of two worlds on this planet, the world of the thinkers and the world of the knowers. Dear mind, on this date, without any effort whatsoever, I'm going to allow myself, in a very natural way, just to be there. I'm not going to, mind, you're not going to be able to figure it out right away. It might not make any sense to you, but that's where we're going. And we're going there naturally. No force, no effort, no thinking.